Hi everyone, it's Sean from STK Markets here. Today we're doing an update from Aegros. I was trying to get it to it sooner, but I've been overseas for the last 4 weeks. But we've got a fabulous update of what's happening at the facility. Damian Thornton, the Managing Director of Aegros, is here with me today. Welcome, Damian. It's good to see you.
Continue to, Sean.
David, I came through the facility about 4 or 5 weeks ago, and mate, you were on the home stretch getting this thing built. You've pulled it together. You've got it going. That is the HaemaFrac behind you with all the new paneling, all the new walls in. I was thrilled when I went through it. We had some potential investors come through that had missed out on previous raises because they were worried. And we've got something to that at the end of this video. But the reality is, you've pulled this off, Damien. You're almost about to pump plasma. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, basically, we are in the final stretch. As you say, the clean room is finished. All the vinyl is down. The doors are all in. We've got three of the four clean utilities that are basically in commissioning and moving into qualification. We just have to couple of spool pieces that we're taking out for NDT testing need to be placed, and then we basically have the WFI, which is the final clean utility system that will basically be in commissioning very, very shortly. The chilled water system is basically finished. We have train coming in, I think Tuesday of next week to finalize the commissioning on the chillers that are on the roof. That brings the chilled water system, which is the primary black utility system, basically in operation. And then we will be moving into full commissioning qualification of the facility. A few things that we still need to finish off in the warehouse, which are not critical to what we want to do in terms of the process equipment. But you'll see in the video that the facility is looking pretty good. The process equipment is pretty much in place, and we're, yeah, as you say, getting ready to transition into the commissioning qualification stage of the facility in the next couple of weeks.
David, we've seen this with in the mining sector when a mine comes online, it doesn't flip over straight away. Sometimes it takes quarters or a year to get going. In the pharmaceutical world, it's much simpler. You plug it all in, you turn it on, you see how it runs, work out where you've got to adjust it. But it's a lot simpler operation, isn't it?
Well, other than we have the complication of qualification added to the commissioning phase, which obviously extends stuff. But for us, that's actually a good thing in terms of us being a new company with, as yet not new technology, because once we get the TGA in, which again the target, then we've had a very positive meeting, I think I mentioned to you, with the TGA. So that is being aimed for. It's either going to be late June or early July they're coming in. But for them to come in, we obviously will have the facility qualified. And the facility qualified and us having the TGA in basically tells the world now that the Aegros technology at the commercial level is ready for business, and it's proven, because we wouldn't be bringing the TGA in, because at the end of the day, they're the ones who sign off on our protocols. Yes, this is in compliance. Yes, this actually now works. So, for us, the end of June, when they walk through that door, this is our statement to the world that the Aegros technology is ready for the TGA to basically audit and approve it.
Breaking this down, you've said the end of June. We're at the beginning of April at the moment. You're talking 8 weeks. In an investment time, I mean, shares settle in 2 days, but we're
Eight,
talking
eight,
eight
eight to
weeks.
12, 8 to 12 weeks. Yeah.
It takes you that long to get a bloody home loan for your house. So the reality is we're not talking a very long time in
No,
investment.
this is very near term, Sean. As you say, most of the build is complete. Let's say there's some stuff in the warehouse we still have to do, but in terms of what we want to do, because let's be honest, but the critical thing for us is the process. And we're already now in commissioning and qualification on the process side of the works. And when the TGA come in June, we will have done everything we need to do to show that we are compliant with the TGA requirements and regulations, and that our technology basically is commercially proven then at that point from our perspective. And then we have the TGA hopefully giving us the GMP certification within hopefully three months of that audit. So we'll be hoping by October time that Aegros has got a GMP license for its new technology at a commercial level. We've had as you know, the GMP license before, but that GMP license was for clinical trials. This one will be for clinical trials and commercial operations.
As for you know, Damien, you've built these facilities in multi-jurisdictions to the relevant codes, TGA, HSA, NHS, depending on where you're at. I'm not sure about FDA. I can't remember that one. But the reality
Yeah, I've
is,
done loads of FDA plants, man.
so
Yeah.
you've done this in the past. So we're confident that you've got this covered because it's just Control C, Control V.
Sean,
Copy.
when we met with 6 people from the TGA about 3 weeks ago, there was not one substantive comment from all 6 of them in relation to the facility design that we have built.
I remember, I think on the 21st of October 2020, when you got your TGA, and it's been some time.
Mm.
And it's been a journey to get here. Let's say it. It's been a bloody journey. But
As
the
indeed.
reality is we're coming to the end of this journey now. And
Yeah.
that's the reality. And as time progresses, Damien, my partners and I, who I invest with, we've been approached by several top tier candidates to look at joining the board to have that manufacturing experience addition to the company.
Mhm.
Aegros is getting interested from external talent wanting to join Aegros to take it to that next level, which we're looking very forward to announcing in the coming weeks. The reality is, Damien, is that the business is progressing. You've got everything in check, everything in hand. How's the financial situation look at the moment? You've got a cash flow budgeting plan. We've seen that. We'll give limited information in regards to that to
Yeah.
invest. But how's that looking?
Yeah, so we have as you say, a budgeting plan that basically removes any bells and whistles, that has based on what we expect to get between funding and against the ATO tax rebate and the tax rebate to run the business to the end of this year without any additional equity incoming into the country. Obviously, an important aspect of that though is timing. And obviously, as you know, we're trying to accelerate as much as we can, A, to get the build completed, but also then to start initiating some of the clinical trials, which advance the business substantially. So ultimately, for us, that would mean if we can get additional funding into the company, it gives us a little bit more flexibility, but it gives us that ability to ensure that we're really driving the company forward and accelerating the business plan.
So where you're sitting at the moment is that the question before I lead to the funding, have you had external parties, those conversations we spoke to about other fractionators
Mhm.
using your technology to process the hyperimmunes? We're not talking about Covimmune, we're talking about NED,
Correct.
hepatitis.
Yep. Tetanus,
Right,
rabies.
yes.
So those are
How,
4 of the 5 clinical trials that we want to do this year, Sean, right? We want to do IgG, hepatitis B, anti-D, tetanus, and rabies. But yeah, we have one of the big 3 sending 2 extremely senior people from their organization over to visit us from July 6th to July 9th. That's one of the top 3 fractionators in the world. Will be here physically in our facility watching the manufacturing of IgG for 4 days.
are they coming from Europe?
They're coming from Europe, yeah.
Well, I know who they are. That's fantastic. They're the ones you've been talking to for quite some.
Correct. Correct.
They've seen the technology work,
Yeah.
they've taken samples.
Yes.
So these are very advanced discussions. I'm pleased it's the same people.
In addition, we will have the Vietnamese Ministry of Health here in June. Again, the basis for their visit is to transition our non-binding agreement to a binding agreement to build a 500,000 liter facility for albumin and IgG in Vietnam. They will be here in June to basically crystallize that deal. Okay. In addition, yes, we have one other company that we are in discussions with who are potentially, they want exclusivity on 2 1 million liter facilities. They obviously, because there's been Eid Mubarak, we haven't been able to contact them the last couple of weeks, but they are looking at potentially, obviously that exclusivity, but that exclusivity comes with the potential for a 19.5% stake in the company. And
So there's a lot happening at the moment. So the next few
100%, yeah.
months
A
are
lot
critical.
bubbling under. Obviously, the one big thing from our perspective, and certainly from an investor's perspective, if those deals are inked for those three facilities, then A, there will be revenue coming into the company in the second half of this year from an engineering perspective, because we'll be charging roughly about $15 million in engineering fees to do the basic engineering on these three deals. And these three deals will ink July, August, and we'll start off, that money will come in quarter four. But in addition to that, that obviously then gives Aegros the ability to have a 2.5 million liters a year of plasma processing capacity on stream by roughly 2029.
So, Damien, a lot is happening. That the market's starting to realise that Aegros is for real. We're at the final hurdle. In terms of the funding, you've got the money to finish the build.
Through what we need to do, or what we're expecting to get in from funding against the ATO, yes, we do.
And for the last 5 years, I'll be very clear to people, have you got it every year?
Yes, yes, absolutely. Last year we got 13.2 within 28 days of our submission to the tax office. And then the year before we got 19.6.
So at this, nothing's changed. It's the same.
No, it's the same six projects. We will be adding one additional project because I think I mentioned to you, I've come up with the design of a new HeemaFrac system that will simultaneously be able to extract two proteins as opposed to what we have at the minute, which is targeted at a single protein. That is massive for us in terms of what we want to do for these new plants overseas, because they'll be targeting two proteins, albumin and IgG. So that's a redesign. So that's a new seventh project. I've obviously come up with the outline on what that will look like. Obviously, the next phase for us, obviously, on that project is to then take it through to engineering, doing prototyping, etc. We've already done a very rough and ready prototype in the pilot plant of what that will look like, but that will obviously then be a new generation HeemaFrac. What that does mean is that that will enhance and improve our profitability when it comes to these large scale operations. But it's obviously also means that we can do two extractions simultaneously, even in Sydney, even though that facility is designed to be a hyperimmune. It means that if we want to do train two and enter into toll manufacturing while we're building these plants overseas, we can do that and now with a single HeemaFrac as opposed to having to need two HeemaFracs to do that. So that'll be a new project we add, which enhances the value of the company, reduces our cost of goods sold for these large scale manufacturing by about 30%, and also reduces our capex by about the same.
Do you need a clinical trial to prove that technology or not?
No, we won't need a clinical trial to prove that. All we'll be able to do there is just prove that in the pilot plant, because ultimately what we're going to do is extract IgG, which we're going to do the clinical trial for. The second protein we're going to extract is going to be albumin. And in albumin, we don't need a clinical trial. We just need pharmacovigilance so we can launch albumin onto the market without a clinical trial.
So what we're looking at here, Damien, is you want to start the clinical trials sooner than what you had it imagined previously, because we have had a little bit of delay getting to this point.
We have, yeah. We're probably, I would say, 2 weeks, if not 3 weeks behind what my original schedule was. My expectation was we would be finished basically by Easter. It looks like now we'll probably finish the end of April in terms of the facility construction.
So the reality is, Damien, you're wanting to pull forward these clinical trials to get to our own product sooner. You've still got the plan to do the toll manufacturing where we don't have the big capex of hiring sales staff, buying plasma, looking for distribution channels.
Right.
We've still got that revenue stream that we initially got people in, but now you're wanting to do these trials sooner.
Well, the big thing on the trials, right, is that it gives us product registration quicker, right?
Yeah.
And product registration, i.e. Aegros having 5 branded products, as opposed to obviously operating solely as a CDMO, brings a lot more value because our gross margins, increase from 60% to 75% for the same products, right? Obviously, our cost base goes up because, as you say, you're buying plasma, you're also having salespeople, but ultimately, for the large overseas projects, i.e., these ones that are going to sell IgG and sell albumin, obviously having a registered product is massively advantageous then to expanding also then those Aegros facilities to more, because we're saying, yeah, Aegros has got registered products. this is leading technology. Do you want to license our technology into your country? And it'll open our opportunities for multiple facilities in multiple countries, because ultimately now you're dealing with registered Aegros products as opposed to just acting as a CDMO.
David, we'll have a look at the raise at the moment. What we're looking at doing is to reward investors who were a little bit too nervous to invest last time. You're doing a $3 million round at the same price, that with no options, mind you, at $1.
Yeah,
To
just on the basis of that shortfall. Correct.
yeah, to get the money for the clinical trials. So
Yes.
that the reality is so we can fast track us. We've got the money to complete the facility, as we said, but
Yeah.
now we want to do the clinical trials sooner. So you're looking for investors to tap in $3 million at the moment. I can confirm today I've got bids for 800,000 and we haven't really even opened it. So we've got some large, long-standing investors we've tested this with and have said they'll put some more money in. So we've already got 33 or approximately 30% of the raise covered at this particular point in time. We have let the cat out of the bag on Good Friday. Aegros does want to push ahead with this as soon as possible with the negotiations it's got to get things moving along. So that there is a due date to get bids in by the 9th. With
Correct.
the following week for that, but the 9th to get a bid in is the due date. There'll be no extensions this time.
Yep.
The company has progressed, and the company has listened to me. We have gone, and I have heard a lot of people saying I was too nervous to invest when the company was where it was last year. The company is very different now. You've paid off a lot of your debts. You've got the facility just about finished. You've got the money to finish the facility, get through to December, and that includes operating expenses, wages. You've slimmed it down, Damian. You've cut out a lot of things you didn't need to get to the revenue inflection point. In October, once you've got it, how long until you think you'll be at revenue?
Yeah, we're aiming to be no later than January, and hopefully before that. We will need to run a few clinical trials in as you manufacture the material in the facility, which will probably take us, up to a month. And then ultimately for the clients that we want to manufacture for, we'll have to do what's called 3 PV batches, process validation batches, which will be manufacturing their product and ours, and we need to pass those 3 PV batches, and then at that point in time, then you transition into commercial operations.
Damien, I remember vividly having put almost 3.7 million of my own money into this business. When we heard that one of your competitors tested your product, the words from their mouth was that it is more pure than theirs. It is a better product than theirs.
It is a better product because the one thing that we don't do is we don't destroy IG3 when we manufacture the IgG, which most fractionation operations do. And IG3 has been known to have the most beneficial therapeutic effect. We bring IgG across as it occurs basically in the natural form within the plasma or the blood itself. So we don't have any destruction of some of those key properties. But then the big thing is that, for this market, you're still looking to get twice the product output for the same liter of plasma processed. And the one thing, actually, I think a lot of people, they report on their yields, and we know legacy is between 40 and 50%, but they're reporting yields at that on the basis of the fraction that they recover out during that initial cryogenic process. But when they get that precipitation, they've already lost a percentage of the starting plasma or the starting IgG. So their yields, even though they're reporting them, are over reporting their yields. They're actually less than these people are projecting, because they've already not taken into account of the fact that they've lost a percentage of that when they actually get the precipitate in the first place. So that's why, for us, this will be, and the world will stand up and take notice when they realize the TGA have come in and audited our first facility.
Well, we already have had the TGA GMP approval for the clinical trials. We've got the results from the clinical trials. We know that the technology works. You've got the V2 going to a V8. It's
Yep.
just 6 more cartridges. It's the same technology that was approved before. Nothing's really changed with scale. It's just like solar panels. You need more panels if you want more power. It's very simple. And the key thing is, with it being aqueous-based, water-based rather than ethanol, that's why it's cleaner than the competitions.
Yeah.
So
But
we're,
we've
we're
we've
funding.
actually improved and enhanced things for us, Sean. I've reduced the cost of goods. We've changed our buffers and reduced our chemical cost by about 90% over what was in place when I took over in July. but also we've just made some recent adaptations on the actual membrane itself. And obviously it's early days and there's a few things we need to tweak, but we're at the minute looking at membranes that may be able to give us over 150% of what we were initially estimating the capacity could be. That's early days, but all I'm saying is that everything we're doing at the minute is actually looking to move things up and move things forward. And the capacity for us, I think that we'll be able to blow by it. But again, that's, we have people focused on the right things. We're spending money in the right areas. As you say, we've right-sized the company. We're spending on critical people that are advancing the business.
David, it's great to see that whilst you've been building the plant, you've still had the R&D pipeline pushing, which in this type of business, you're only as good as your last trade, I like to say in my business, but you're still pushing the envelope. Listen, it's been a good update, Damien. There's a lot of information that's just been disseminated. If anyone has any questions, please give me a call. The term sheet is attached to this email. The business is looking like it's back on track. The board have got the company back together where it should have been. And it's just fabulous to see the innovation and the progress is there, Damien. Congratulations
Thank
to
you.
you and your
Just
team.
before you go, son, just to give you a quick on, because we've obviously been reviewing this with financiers recently, right? When we took over the Falcon and the operational debt, stood around $23 million. Today it sits at 3.5.
You've turned the company around, Damien, and it was fabulous from the moment we got to know you better because it was always John and Harry facing, and we looked under the hood. We got you checked out by A2 Consulting. The negative thing about you, which I laughed and I fell off my chair at the time, was that you had your financial future invested in Aegros. When we had issues getting the deal finished, you were writing checks of your own money, putting
Yep.
money into the business. You're very heavily invested in this, Damien. This is your future. And hopefully we all get the big reward because you certainly deserve it, mate. You put your money where your mouth is when it was needed.
Appreciate that, Sean. Yep. As you say, I believe in this company as much as you do.
Yeah, and I certainly do too.
Yeah.
David, thank you for your time. If anyone's got any questions, give me a call. But bids will close on the 9th at 5 p.m. And that's when the offer is closed with settlement a week after that. Thank you.
All the best. Thanks again.
This is the gowning area, and we go into the spine of the facility. From the main production corridor, we go into the buffer prep room. This is finished through the airlock into the completed buffer preparation room. From the production corridor, we come to our first processing room, which is the plasma maturation room. And this is the plasma maturation pooling vessel. The next processing room we have is the ultrafiltration room. That's the next step in the process. This is the completed clean room with all the equipment that's been placed in the room. Post UF, we come to the fractionation room. This is where the targeted protein is being separated out from the plasma. We're currently doing calibration work in this room. After the HaemaFrac, we go into viral filtration room. This is where the target protein will undergo viral filtration as the pre-viral steps. Post-viral filtration, we have a completely segregated clean room corridor. This is for the final formulation and the buffer exchange room. And this is with the equipment that's in the room. Post-final formulation, the final product goes into our filling room. And this is a filling machine waiting to be qualified.